welcoming you back to the desk of Caddicarus. Join us as we partake into a new installment of Current Quickies.
Hello, my duckies, and this time we're going to be having a look at Watch Dogs. Or is it Watch_Dogs? I don't fucking know anymore. This game here is really good.
Honestly, I wasn't one of those people that took kindly to the E3 gameplay trailer reveal in 2012 for Watch Dogs. Even though it looked gorgeous, it didn't really express enough of what it had to offer, and I thought it looked a bit meh. But despite that, the closer this game got to releasing, the more I started getting pretty eager to see what it could actually do.
And so, on a pure whim, which is very unlike me, I ended up pre-ordering this game and then getting it at a midnight release. Which, by the way, was the first game I've ever had at a midnight release. And so, I got home and played it. Because you know, why not? But the question is, how was it then? Well...
This game is pretty fucking solid. Watch Dogs, where it may not look quite as good as the E3 trailer visually, still doesn't mean it's a bad game, because honestly, it really isn't. And that's not just because of the fact that this game actually looks pretty damn beautiful regardless, especially with the light and gorgeous particle effects, but also due to some other things. For those who don't know, Watch Dogs is centered around you in a huge open world where you can do this with a smartphone. Or this. Or even this. And with using these things, you abuse the vulnerability of Chicago's inner computer networks and complete missions by attacking gangs and stopping crimes, surveying and sneaking about, spying on people, stealing money from bank accounts, hacking phone and text conversations, stealing cars, and all sorts of other amazingly cool stuff. Talking about Chicago, this game's interpretation of it is probably one of the most realistic and alive open cities I've ever played through in a video game. Every person that you scan with your phone has a story. Every phone you hack into, even if there's no job out of it, still has something worth reading or listening to. And the entire city really does feel like a living and breathing place with living and breathing inhabitants to interact with. And even though it may not be the most vibrant of open worlds I've ever played, like in Sleeping Dogs, it's still completely gorgeous. And even though you probably can't see that with my PS4's direct capture of the gameplay, you'll have to take my word on it. It looks amazing. As far as missions go though, as well as your standard campaign missions, there are masses of other side quests to play with, and this game is a great distractathon. Every mission, story or otherwise, is incredibly fun, very diverse, and always feels different every time you play through them. And not to mention, you can't get away with implementing the exact same strategies over and over again to pass through them. And hell, even the bonus games with digital trips are really fun and really addicting and completely ridiculous as well. Also, this game is fucking massive! The open world is insanely big and open-ended with tons of fucking things to do along with the random crimes. And even with all of this stuff that the game has to load and process, on the PS4 at least, the game runs absolutely perfectly, and I never hit any kind of frame drop throughout the whole thing. And I mean no matter what happened on the screen. I hear that the optimization for the PC version hasn't been that good recently despite the huge graphical upgrade hidden in the game's code, and if that's true then that's a huge shame, but as far as the PS4 version goes, we're not quite as pretty, it's still smooth as butter. As far as the plot goes as well, it's very intriguing. It may not be one of the greatest stories ever told, but the scenes and setups as well as the themes it tackles with computing vulnerability is incredibly interesting and oftentimes terrifying, especially when you hack the mainframe networks and watch other people's homes. It's really something that gets you thinking. But the thing that really surprised me in the game was, in fact, the gameplay. Hacking everything using one button on the controller and using the entire city to your advantage is great enough, but it's the way that the whole city has a digital pulse, and it all interconnects with security cameras all over the place to allow you to hack anything from anywhere, leading to tons of missions involving strategic planning, and if you ask me, very well done open world stealth. It's all about how cunning you are with this immense power on your person and how you can use it sneakily and effectively. Because if you go into this game like any other open world game, your ass will get handed to you. This also makes the chase sequences and awesome fast-paced gunfights even more tense due to how quickly you can die. And you need to learn how to deal effectively with any situation in the game with whatever you can find on your smartphone. You can even craft your own luring items, grenades, communication jammers, and even cause city blackouts to further benefit the idea of keeping sneaky. And the great control that this game has helps it out all around. There are even some well-implemented puzzle segments with figuring out how to reach hackable computer tiles to unlock specific parts of the city blocks by climbing buildings, and then even more puzzles with hacking the tower itself. And surprisingly, they're always fun to figure out, and the creepy shit that you can find after solving them is worth it alone, besides the rewards you unlock. But what's great about this whole idea is that even though it sounds like a lot to absorb, after a few minutes, every concept of the smartphone with everything the game has to offer can be grasped and nailed extremely easily thanks to a great control scheme, and by the way that it slowly reveals everything in a comprehensive and understandable way.
However, even though that stuff is great, there are a few things wrong with this game.
I'm just gonna come out and say right now that the writing for some of the scenes in the story, especially the serious emotional ones, is actually laughable at times. And as badass as Aiden Pierce looks when he's trying to hide away, he's not exactly the strongest main character I've ever played as. His voice is pretty fucking bland, and even though his motives and ideologies are interesting and pretty genuine, alone he's just not enough to carry the story along swimmingly or leave any kind of impact on you. Also, the fact that this game gives you pretty much the entire city to yourself ends up becoming a slight issue with maintaining yourself money-wise and your reputation. Money is quickly and easily earned, cars are quickly and easily stolen, guns are quickly and easily picked up. I never needed to go shopping for any temporary upgrades or weapons, and because you literally own this entire fucking city, the preciousness of supplies and money are pretty much nil and completely optional. And the reputation level you have is kind of unimportant since everything in the city can be tampered with and fixed to sort out any trouble you're in. And also I only found myself using about 4 guns, one from each category, because they're all pretty much the fucking same, making the differences between each pistol, sniper rifle, machine gun, and shotgun very unimportant and pointless. It's a shame because the gameplay as a whole is fantastic, yet it's slightly held back by these small things. As far as nitpicks go, the radio soundtrack is completely forgettable and bland, and initially the cars are a little stiff to drive and the physics are kind of, well, bad. But those are things that you really quickly get used to, and honestly, these vehicles are actually really easy to drive compared to other open world games out there. So overall, even though this game lacks a strong main character for that extra dash of personality personality along with the other things I mentioned, this game left me with an open world experience unlike any others I can compare it to, and also an experience I won't forget anytime soon. The world is literally your oyster, and I really do recommend this game. Even the online integration is some of the funnest I've ever played. Seamlessly playing itself into your game while you're playing and having online players hack you, challenge you to tasks, and you can even jump into other players' games and hack them while they run around aimlessly trying to find you. Ingenious. To round it off, this game is extremely fun, extremely addictive, great to look at, interesting, challenging, and I also got hit by a train in the first few seconds of getting footage.
Oh, jeez. The speaking is becoming a problem now. It needs to be sorted. I've spoken to my doctor. He doesn't know what's going on. My psychiatrist doesn't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. I'm starting to think that the worst could be possibly happening. I mean, I feel really empty and alone, and I'm actually kind of locked.
This game gets an 8 out of fucking 10.
Hello there everybody, and thanks so much for watching my very quick, very fast talking review of Watch Dogs. Hope you all liked it. Look in the description for loads of exciting stuff, including all of my social networks, my Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all of that stuff, my Games Grabber profile so you can see exactly what games I've been buying and putting on my shelves recently. All of my t-shirts and everything are down there, so have a look at that. And also I've got to give a great shout out and a massive thank you to all of my top Patreon supporters. If you look in the description, you'll find my Patreon page where you can get all sorts of rewards from myself. It's a great service, and you guys that I'm going to shout out, you have been incredible with your support. So I need to give a massive thank you to Daniel Carlson, Ed Herngreen, Philip Larson, David Coffey, Ivan Strand, James Newman, Greg Black, Michael McKitterick, Nick Marchenko, Zachary Lehman, Benjamin Peasley, Jason Norris, a YouTuber by the name of The Retro Gamer HD, so go check it out, Delmar Mullins, Kylie McKinnon, Matthew Elliott, Yayan Tuffrey Jones, Mohammed Al-Sali, Tony Pierce, Albert Rodriguez, Emily Higginbotham, Obaid Al-Shamsi, another YouTuber by the name of The Darkest Side of Me 101, so please go and have a look at his stuff, Alan Angert, and Harry Gaynor. Thanks so much for anything. Sorry for any mispronunciations, but thank you so much, guys. You mean the world to me. You've done incredible on Patreon, and I love you all very much. And of course, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy freaking birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.